Hello students, in the last class we were discussing about some of the important concepts related to the biomolecules, and we have also seen the meaning of biomolecule along with that the general information regarding to the biomolecules, and we have seen some of the important biomolecules which are responsible for the sustained growth and development of the living organisms. Along with that we have seen some of the important the explanation regarding with the some of the important biomolecules like carbohydrates, general formula of carbohydrates. Along with that we have seen certain examples and the exact meaning or the definition of the carbohydrates. Generally they are also called as saccharides. It is given from the Greek word which is known as saccharon, which means sugar. Further, we have seen the classification of carbohydrates in which they are mainly divided into three groups, as I already explained. So that is divided into monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides. So in case of monosaccharides, what happens? The carbohydrate which does not have any ability to further divide it into simple unit or simple polyhydroxy, aldehydes or ketonic molecules. Therefore, those are generally called as monosaccharides. If you take the example of glucose, fructose, and ribose, so even on the hydrolysis, which means on the addition of water molecule to these molecules, biomolecules, so they will not divide into a simpler molecule, which means they are already a simple molecules. So these type of saccharides are generally termed as monosaccharide units. So next, if you go for the oligosaccharides, the carbohydrates which have the ability or capacity to give 2 to 10 units of saccharide molecules. Therefore, they are considered under the oligosaccharides, right? So if you take the example of sucrose and maltose, so they have the ability to convert or divide into two different monosaccharides or two same monosaccharides like that. So therefore they are considered under oligosaccharides, right? So further we can classify the oligosaccharides on the basis of the number of saccharide molecules which they give on the process of hydrolysis. So if they give 2 units, so we'll call it as a disaccharide. If they give 3 units, we'll call it as trisaccharide. If they give more than 3, like 4, it will be considered into tetrasaccharide, pentasaccharide, hexasaccharide, right? So based on the total number of saccharide units formed on the process of hydrolysis, they are considered into oligosaccharides if they give 2 to 10 units of saccharide molecules. And the third one is polysaccharides, the carbohydrates which can yield a large number of polysaccharide units. So generally if you take starch, cellulose, glycogen, so there will be more than 10. Whenever there is a more than 10 unit, here you can observe 2 to 10 means it's oligosaccharides. If it is more than 10, so it is considered as the polysaccharide units. For example, if you take a starch, cellulose, glycogen and gum, so these are some of the important naturally occurring the polysaccharides because they consist of more than 10, that is monosaccharide units, which means they have the capacity to produce more than 10 monosaccharide units on the process of hydrolysis or on the addition of water molecule, right? So there is one more statement here, the polysaccharide are not sweet. As I already explained, if the monosaccharide units, the chain of monosaccharide units will be greater than, when it will be greater than 10 monosaccharide units, they are considered as polysaccharides. But the polysaccharides, as the number of the monosaccharide unit increases, the sweetness goes on reduces. Therefore, the polysaccharides are generally not as sweet in taste, and hence they are called as non-sugars also. They may ask for 1 mark, define non-sugars. The polysaccharides which are having the more than 10 monosaccharide units, generally they are in not having any kind of sweet in taste, hence they are also called as non-sugar, right? So that is one of the important definition. Along with that, there is one more definition, that is what are reducing sugars. What is the meaning of reducing sugars? All carbohydrates which reduces the filling solutions and tolerance reagents are generally considered as the reducing sugars, right? So already we know what is filling solution and what is tolerance reagent. You have already learned even in case of your functional group analysis, in case of qualitative and quantitative analysis in labs, right? So all carbohydrates which reduces, there are two types of filling solution. One is filling solution A, second one is filling solution B, right? So those solutions, if the molecule which is, that is carbohydrate, which have capacity to reduce both the filling solutions as well as tolerance reagents, are generally considered as reducing sugars, right? So this can be asked for 1 mark. Most of the time it is a repeated question. Define reducing sugars. All carbohydrates which has capacity to reduce the filling solutions and tolerance reagent. We know that. So in case of filling solution A, it is a blue aqueous solution of copper to sulfate, so pentahydrated, it's generally pentahydrated. And filling solution B is a clear solution of that is aqueous potassium sodium tartarate. So generally it is called as a Rockall salt also. And tolerance reagent also you have studied, that is the silver, that is which is bonded with the ammonia molecule, that is NH3, and it is generally colorless and basic aqueous solution, that is a coordination compound. Further we'll study what is tolerance reagent and what is a Fehling solution. Just remember there are three different types of solution, because in Fehling solution there are two. One is Fehling solution A, second is Fehling solution B, and the third solution is tolerance reagent. If any of the carbohydrates which has ability to reduce, this word is very important, right? So it has ability to reduce, so the both the Fehling solutions as well as the tolerance reagent, and they are considered as the reducing sugars, that we have learned in the previous class. And further, if you go for the naming or the nomenclature of monosaccharides, how we can name, so we know that it may also generally monosaccharide units can consist of aldehyde group. If they consist of aldehyde group, they are called as aldose, and if it consists of the ketonic group, we will call it as ketose. So you have to be clear with this idea initially, right? So whenever the monosaccharide unit is made up of CHO group, that is generally called as aldose, and whenever the monosaccharide unit is made up of a ketonic group, that is called as ketose. On the basis of these two, so these can be used as a prefix in the total, that is general terms. For general terms, so aldose and ketose, right? So aldo or keto is used as a prefix, as I have given the examples here. So if it consists of monosaccharide unit consists of 3 carbon atom, so general term is triose. You must use the prefix if it consists of the aldehyde group, that is aldotriose. And if it consists of the ketonic group, we must name it as a ketotriose. Similarly, if it consists of 4 carbon atom, so the general term is tetrose. But in case of aldehyde group, so the word aldo is used as a prefix, therefore it is termed as aldotetrose. In ketonic group, it is termed as ketotetrose. And similarly, the carbon atom, if there are 5 in case of monosaccharide, so it is termed as the pentose, and if it consists of aldehyde group, it is termed as aldopentose, and if it is consists of ketonic group, we will call it as ketopentose, right? So that's all we have studied in the previous classes. So in today's class, we'll go with the further related concepts, that are the preparation of glucose molecule as well as the exact structure of a glucose molecule, which means the overall explanation regarding to the monosaccharide unit, that is glucose molecule, can be studied under this class, right? So further, if you go for the preparation of glucose, so according to your syllabus, the glucose can be prepared with the help of two processes. One is from sucrose, generally we will call it as cane sugar, that is C12H22O11, and you can also prepare the glucose with the help of starch, having the molecular formula C6H10O5, that is N times, right? So here you can observe, from sucrose, whenever you produce glucose, it is very in the small scale, which means it is in case of a laboratory scale, which means the yield obtained will be, or the product obtained will be very less when compared to that obtained from the starch. Which means whenever you prepare the glucose molecules, so from starch, it is commercial, that is commercial, which means we can produce the glucose molecule at the industrial level in case of large scale. But when you want to prepare the glucose molecule for the small scale or the laboratory scale, we must go for the sucrose. Sucrose is generally called as cane sugar. There is another name for the sucrose, and it is having the molecular formula of a C12H22O11, right? So if sucrose is boiled with a dilute HCl, in case of acidic medium like H2SO4 or HCl, in alcoholic solution, glucose and fructose are obtained in the equal amount. Observe here, the main important thing we are preparing is glucose, but along with that there is a preparation of fructose also. Therefore, the quantity of glucose will be produced, whatever the glucose produced in this reaction will be very less. So therefore, this process is generally called as a small scale process, or you can also call it as a laboratory scale process, right? Remember, if you split a sucrose, that is also called as cane sugar, that is having the molecular formula of C12H22O11. Generally on the hydrolysis, addition of water molecule, in case of acidic medium like HCl or in case of H2SO4, there is H plus, means you have added any kind of acid like HCl or H2SO4. This molecule, higher molecular weight molecule, will split into lower molecular weight molecule. So generally sucrose is generally called as oligosaccharide because it can give 2 monosaccharide units on the hydrolysis. Already we know the definition of oligosaccharides. The molecules are the the carbohydrates which have ability to give so 2 to 10 monosaccharide units on the process of hydrolysis is called as oligosaccharides. So therefore sucrose has ability to produce two different monosaccharide units on the process of hydrolysis, that is addition of water molecule in an acidic medium. So it can be converted into glucose and fructose. Very simple example. So this can be asked for 1 mark, right? So explain the preparation of preparation of glucose from sucrose or preparation of glucose from cane sugar. Both the meanings are same. And second important preparation of glucose is from starch. So generally in case of large scale or in case of commercial uses, which means the product obtained must be more. So in case of industrial scale, we will use the starch as a reactant, and we can convert or we can split the glucose molecules with the help of starch, right? So commercially glucose is obtained on the hydrolysis of starch by boiling it with the dilute H2SO. The same process here also we are using the acidic medium hydrolysis, but we are maintaining the temperature of 933 Kelvin and 2 to 3 atmospheric. At a very small atmospheric pressure, we can divide or split this molecule, or we can hydrolyze the molecules of starch, that is C6H10O5N times in presence of N moles of water molecule. It is converted into N moles of glucose molecule. Generally remember the molecular formula of glucose is C6H12O6, right? So this is also one of the important process. This can also be asked for 1 mark in the annual examination. Explain or give the process of preparation of glucose from starch, right? So generally, so glucose is obtained on the hydrolysis or by the hydrolysis of starch by boiling it with a dilute H2SO4 at the temperature of 393 Kelvin and 2 to atmospheric pressure. We can convert this starch or we can split this starch into the glucose molecule, right? So therefore there are two important processes. One is from sucrose, or you can call it as cane sugar. Second one is from starch. We can prepare glucose on the help of these two important processes. First one is laboratory scale, or it is generally called as a small scale. Second one is industrial scale, which is known as a commercial scale, or it can be termed as large scale production of glucose. Okay, further if you go for the structure of glucose, right? So after studying the preparation of glucose, further if you look for the structure of what is the exact structure of glucose. So generally the molecular formula of glucose is a C6H12O6, right? So you must remember this. The molecular formula of glucose is C6H12O6, and glucose is an aldohexose. Generally it consists of aldehyde group and there are 6 carbon atoms. So therefore it is termed as aldohexose. Hexose is a number of carbon atom, and whenever there is an aldehyde group, we must use the word aldo as a prefix, as we already seen in the naming of monosaccharide units. So therefore glucose is an aldohexose. Hexose represents 6 carbon atom. Aldo means there is an aldehyde group. Therefore it is aldohexose, and it is also known as dextrose. There is another name for the glucose molecule which is termed as dextrose. Glucose is an aldohexose, and it is also known as dextrose. It has the molecular formula of C6H12O6 that we already seen. So if you go for the exact structure of glucose molecule, it looks like this. That is CHO, which is bonded with CHOH 4 times. Observe here carefully. That is CHO, there is a CHOH 4 times, and it is CH2OH, right? So we'll go for some of the rough work here. So the exact structure of glucose, so I will draw the exact structure of glucose here. That is a CHO, right? So that is a CHOH 4 times, right? And it is further bonded with CH2OH, right? So observe here. So here in this case what happens? So the aldehyde group is present at the top, and which is connected with the 4 carbon atom. Here for observe I have taken it 4 times, which means there is an aldehyde group, and at the another end there is CH2OH group, right? So in between there are 4 carbon atoms. Here you can observe that is CHOH, which means there are 4 hydroxyl group, 4 hydrogen atom, and 4 carbon atom. Here you can observe. So here if I put alright, so the 4 different dot. So these dot represents the carbon atom, right? And it is the skeletal structure of glucose. Here you can observe, right? So which means further there are 4 hydroxyl group and 4 hydrogen atom. That structure I have written here. So in this case, here you can observe in the right side, so there is OH group, right? So H group, OH group, OH group, and here you can observe in the opposite side, wherever there is OH, its opposite it is having H group. This is also having H group. Here it is H, and opposite will be the reverse one, that is OH, and OH, that will be H, right? So this is the structure generally. So this carbon is represented with the straight line like this, that is CH to OH, that is CHO, OH, H, H, OH, right? So this dot represents the carbon atom. That's first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon, and this one is sixth carbon, right? So observe here. So generally we say that the glucose is made up of 6 carbon atoms. So and it consists of aldehyde group. So the name is aldohexose, right? So this is termed as aldohexose because it consists of a 6 carbon atom, and the aldehyde group, right? So with the help of these two, we can give the exact structure of glucose, that is also called as aldohexose, right? Please remember this one. So they can ask for 1 mark, give the exact structure of glucose. It consists of aldehyde group and also consists of the 6 different carbon atoms. So in a skeletal structure we can give the structure like this, and normally we will term it as CHO, CHOH 4 times, and CH2OH, right? So this is the exact structure of glucose, right? And further, for your syllabus they have kept some of the proofs or some of the reactions which can explain the exact structure of glucose. Already we have seen the structure of glucose, but there are some identifications in case of glucose, like the glucose molecule consists of 6 carbon atom, the glucose molecule consists of aldehyde group, the glucose molecules having the 5 OH groups like this. So this can be observed by the further proofs. There are some reactions, with the help of that we can assume or we can give the proof for the exact structure of glucose. The first important is identification of total number of carbon atoms. As we already says, it is aldohexose. Aldohexose means the skeletal structure of glucose consists of 6 carbon atom. But what is the proof? It consists of only 6 carbon atom. So that we'll study here. The glucose on prolonged heating with the hydrogen iodide, whenever you react that glucose with the hydrogen iodide, so it forms N-hexane. Generally it is converted into N-hexane. So whenever it converts into N-hexane, so it is a proof that the glucose molecule consists of 6 carbon atom. It is a proof that the glucose molecule consists of 6 carbon atoms which are linked in a straight chain. Here you can observe this is in the straight chain. Therefore, if you take a glucose, this is the glucose. The same structure I have drawn here. This is glucose. Right? So whenever these glucose molecule is reacted with hydrogen iodide, or if you heat it in presence of hydrogen iodide, what happens? It will convert into N-hexane. It is generally converted into hexane. Hexane means it consists of a 6 carbon atom. So therefore, this is the proof. This is the proof. That says that, or that explains the glucose molecule consists of 6 carbon atom, and all the carbon atom are in the straight chain. They are not branch, they are in the straight chain, right? So therefore this can be asked for 2 marks. How can you prove that the glucose molecules are, the glucose consists of 6 carbon atoms in a straight chain, or give the reaction for the explanation of the glucose molecule which consists of 6 carbon atoms. The most important thing is very simple. Here the glucose on prolonged is nothing but the continuous heating with the hydrogen iodide, so it forms N-hexane. Generally it forms the N-hexane, and it shows that there are 6 carbon atoms which are linked, which means which are joined in the straight chain. If you take a glucose molecule in presence of hydrogen iodide, which means if you heat that, it is generally converted into N-hexane. That is the first reaction for the proof of exact structure of glucose molecules. Okay, the second one is whenever the glucose reacts with the hydroxylamine, so to form oxime, and add some molecules of hydrogen cyanide, so to give the cyanohydrine. Understand the reaction here. Whenever you take a glucose molecule and if you react with the hydroxylamine, Alright, so that is NH4OH, which means NH4 reacted with OH. It is termed as, generally if NH3 reacts with water, it will convert into, so that is hydroxylamine to form an oxide. Generally it is converted into oxide. Further, if you react the molecules with the hydrogen cyanide, so it will give the cyanohydrine, which means the cyanide group which will bond to the carbon atom, and further it is bonded to the hydroxyl group. We will call it a cyanohydrine, and this reaction confirms that there is a presence of a carbonyl group. Here you can observe there is a presence of carbonyl. Carbonyl is nothing but carbon and oxygen that is double bonded. So in glucose, which shows that the carbon and oxygen are double bonded in case of glucose. Here you can observe. So I have taken the glucose and I have reacted this with the ammonium hydroxide, or you can call it as hydroxylamine. Right, so it is converted into oxide. Initially it is converted into oxide. Here you can observe the nitrogen one side bonded with the carbon, that is double bonded, and it is single bonded with the hydroxyl group, so it is termed as oxide. Right, so further, so it reacts with the hydrogen cyanide. Whenever it reacts with hydrogen cyanide, so there is an attachment of a cyano group to the carbon atom, and this carbon atom is further bonded to the hydroxyl group, which means here it confirms that the carbon is bonded with the oxygen, that is double bonded molecule. So which means there is a carbonyl group in the glucose. So here if you observe, so what happens, that is CHO. So further there is a structure of glucose like this, CH2OH. Right? So when it reacts with NH4OH, and further it reacts with that is hydrogen cyanide, what happens here? So this CHO group is like this, right? So the above group is C double bond O and it is H, right? So it looks like this. So therefore what happens, this is a CHO group. So here what happens, this CN has ability to divide this oxygen, which means this can eliminate this oxygen, and further there is a formation of so that is a CH, H remains with this, there is an attachment of one CN and there is an attachment of OH group here, right? So it looks like this. So therefore the most important thing here is further there is an attachment of this carbon atom with the 4 carbon atom and CH2OH, right? So this looks like this. This CHO group, it consists of carbon single bonded with hydrogen and double bonded with hydroxyl group. The CN molecules, whatever you add in the form of hydrogen cyanide, so it can split this double bond and it can convert into single bond with the carbon atom, and one side carbon atom is bonded to the hydroxyl group and one side it is bonded with its own hydrogen, and another side it is bonded with the chain, that is a straight chain of or linear chain of carbon atoms which are present in the skeletal structure. So therefore it confirms that, so this overall structure confirms that the carbon was double bonded with oxygen, which means whatever the carbon, that first carbon which is present in case of the glucose is a carbonyl carbon, right? So that is a proof that, so the carbon is nothing but the carbonyl carbon which is present in case of glucose. Remember, that is a second proof that the carbon, that is a first carbon in case of the glucose molecule is made up of carbonyl carbon, which means carbon and oxygen are double bonded. And the third one is glucose when react with the mild oxidizing agents like bromine water, it get oxidized into 6-carboxylic acid group, that is generally called as gluconic acid, and this indicates that the carbonyl group is present as an aldehyde group. So what is the proof for aldehyde group in case of a glucose molecule is whenever you react this glucose in presence of bromine molecule or bromine water, so it shows the presence of the 6-carboxylic acid group, the 6 carbon atoms, so they are converted into carboxylic acid group, and these are generally called as gluconic acid, and this is a proof that there is a presence of a carbonyl group which acts as an aldehyde group, which is in the form of aldehyde. This carbon atom has the capacity to behave as an aldehyde group, so that is CHO group. So that is whenever reacted with bromine water, it is converted into COOH. That is just an oxidation, addition of oxygen, we'll call it as oxidation, that is converted into COOH group. So this COOH group shows that the first carbon atom, so which is present in case of glucose molecule, is generally made up of the aldehyde group. That is a proof for aldehyde group. So this can be asked for 2 marks. So out of this, any one can be asked for 2 marks for your annual examination. And further, acetylation. addition of acetyl group, right? So acetylation of glucose with an acetic anhydride gives glucose pentaacetate. It is generally converted into glucose pentaacetate, which confirms that there is a presence of 5-OH group. There is a presence of 5-OH, that is 5-hydroxyl group in case of the glucose molecule. They may ask, explain how the glucose molecule consists of a 5-OH group, or how you can explain the glucose molecule consists of 5, or what is the proof that glucose molecule consists of 5-hydroxyl group. The reason for that is, whenever you take a glucose molecule and if you go for the process of acetylation, which means whenever you react that with acetic anhydride, so there is a formation of pentaacetate. Here you can observe this molecule is one complete acetate molecule, and above there are 4 acetate molecules, that is CHO, C double bond O, CH3. This is called as acetate group, and here you can observe, so the one acetate group is at the bottom, and above that there are 4 same type of acetate group. Totally there are 5 acetate group. So therefore it proves that the glucose molecule consists of 5 hydroxyl group. These are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So these are the 5 important hydroxyl group which are present in case of glucose. That proves that this reaction, the fourth reaction, proves that due to acetylation of glucose, so the glucose on treatment with the acetic anhydride, so it gives pentaacetate. It generally converted into pentaacetate, which confirms that there is a presence of 5-OH groups in case of glucose molecule. So that is the third proof. Sorry, that is a fourth proof for the presence of 5-hydroxyl groups in case of glucose. And the last reaction for the proof of the presence of alcoholic group, right? So the alcoholic group is on oxidation with nitric acid. Whenever you take glucose and if you oxidize with the help of nitric acid, the glucose and gluconic acid both yield the dicarboxylic acid. They are converted into dicarboxylic acid, or you can call it as saccharic acid, right? So in case of gluconic acid, so this indicates the presence of primary alcohol, that is OH group in glucose, right? So we already know there is a presence of OH group in case of, which means the glucose molecule is made up of OH, that is hydroxyl group. But the proof for that is, whenever you take the glucose molecule and you oxidize, there is addition of oxygen, so there is a formation of 2 carboxylic acid. So there is a, here if you observe, the first carbon is converted into the carboxylic acid. Initially it is CHO, that is aldehyde group, and the last carbon atom, that is CH2OH, that is also converted into carboxylic acid group, and this molecule is called as a saccharic acid. This molecule is called as saccharic. The first carbon is also carboxylic acid, and the last carbon is also carboxylic acid. So therefore this reaction on the oxidation with the nitric acid, generally on the oxidation with nitric acid, the glucose and gluconic acid both are converted into dicarboxylic acid. Both are converted into dicarboxylic acid, and that is saccharic acid. So this indicates the presence of primary alcoholic group. Generally they are converted into primary alcoholic group. So this shows that there is a presence of the primary OH group in case of glucose, right? So these are the 5 important reactions which explains the presence of 6 carbon atoms, and the presence of the aldehyde group, and the presence of the OH group, 5 OH groups, as well as the hydroxyl group which is present in case of the glucose molecules. Okay, once we'll see what we have learned today. The first important concept what we have learned today is the preparation of glucose, and we have gone through the 2 different preparation. One is preparation from sucrose, or you can call it as cane sugar, and second one is the preparation with the help of starch. And along with that, we have also seen the structure of glucose, the exact skeletal structure of glucose, and the proofs for the structure of glucose. In that first one is, so it consists of the 6 carbon atoms in a straight chain. When you react the glucose with the hydrogen iodide, it is generally converted into. And the second proof that we have seen is the glucose consists of the carbonyl group. So by reacting with hydroxylamine, so it is converted into oxime, or it is whenever react with hydrogen cyanide, it is converted into cyanohydrine. So that is a proof that the glucose consists of a carbonyl group at the first carbon atom. And the third important proof is, so it shows that there is a presence of aldehyde group in case of glucose. Whenever you react with the bromine water, there is a formation of carboxylic acid group, that is called as gluconic acid. So this indicates that there is a presence of aldehyde group in case of glucose. And the fourth reaction shows that there is a presence of a 5-OH group. Here you can observe. So this is the present proof for aldehyde group. This is a proof for there are 5-OH group in case of glucose. That is acetylation of glucose with acidic anhydride gives glucose pentacetate. Whenever you react this glucose with acetic anhydride, so generally it is converted into pentacetate, and that is a proof that the glucose molecule consists of 5-OH groups. And here the last proof is just to confirm that there is a presence of primary alcoholic group in case of glucose. So on the oxidation, which means whenever it reacts with the nitric acid, on oxidation what happens, this glucose is converted into saccharic acid, right? Which means there is a formation of a carboxylic acid group at the first carbon atom, and there is a formation of carboxylic acid at the last carbon atom. And this shows that there is a presence of a primary alcoholic group, that is primary OH group in case of glucose, right? So that's all we have studied in the today's classes. We'll continue in the next class. Thanks for joining.